Hi there. So, I'm starting the remedial law review playlist, but we're gonna do things differently in this playlist. Kasi, diba normally I have notes. Then, naaral ko na siya bago ko siya i-explain or gawa ng YouTube video. But, I don't have time anymore. And, kailangan ko ring mag-study for remedial law for the bar. So, yun kasi yung una, if you're gonna do the mirror na kind ng order ng pag-aaral for the bar. So, mag-aaral ako ng RemRev and you get to study with me. Kasi marami nagre-request ng remedial law video sa subscribers eh. So, ayun. It's not gonna be perfect. I'm gonna have to understand the concepts as I go along. So, it's not something I understand prior making the video. Just gonna try to also understand it. And yeah, I'm gonna study the materials I'm gonna review the materials for the first time while I'm making this video. But of course, nakapag criminal procedure, civil procedure, evidence, spec pro na din naman tayo. And then, natapos na din naman yung RemRev class. So, parang refresh na lang din naman. It's not like I'm gonna encounter the concepts for the very first time. No naman. Just the review. Review for the first time. Babalikan. So, I apologize for my lapses just in case. And I'm not gonna follow the San Beda College of Law syllabus for this one because our RemRev class starts with civil procedure, but I have to start with criminal procedure kasi doon ako at my point of review. Babalikan na natin yung Civ Pro. So, magki-Crim Pro muna tayo ngayon. Crim Pro and then Evid, and then we go back to Civ Pro and then SCA Spec Pro. So, that's gonna be the flow for this playlist. Alright. I'm gonna use multiple materials, primarily reviewers from San Beda that we were given access to, and some class notes from my previous remedial law classes. So, Judge Palamos for my Crim Pro, Vice Dean Senga for my Civ Pro, Attorney Ramon Esguerra for my remedial law review. Ayun. And then, prior San Beda, I was also enrolled in Ateneo Law, and my professor for remedial law then, Crim Pro, is Attorney GSA, and we used the materials of Riano, which I really like. So, yun yung parang magiging sources natin. I'm just gonna check the bar syllabus because that was the advice. You don't have to study everything, you just have to study what's on the syllabus. So, criminal jurisdiction. Let's start with that. I'm just gonna pull up some materials. Okay na yan. Alright. So first is, sa bar syllabus, is criminal jurisdiction. Criminal jurisdiction. It's the authority to hear and try a particular offense and impose the punishment for it. So we all know jurisdiction naman. It's not just a RemRev concept, no. Jurisdiction is the authority to hear and try the case. So for Crim Pro, for RemRev, it's the authority to hear and try criminal cases. Okay. So, syempre, dapat the courts have jurisdiction in order to hear a case. Remedial law is all about procedure. So, it starts with that. The important thing is you file the case sa proper court. So what are the requisites for a court to exercise jurisdiction? So there are 3. First is subject matter jurisdiction, that the offense is one it is authorized by law to take cognizance of. 2 is territorial jurisdiction. The offense has been committed within its territorial jurisdiction. 3rd is jurisdiction over the person. The person charged must have been brought before it for trial, forcibly by arrest or upon his voluntary submission to the court. Okay. So, subject matter jurisdiction. 'Di ba may mga statutes yan punishing a certain act or omission constituting as a crime? Pwedeng special penal law, pwedeng galing sa RPC. 'Di ba meron yan, like for example, for certain cases, especially for special penal laws na, for example, involving public officers or certain crimes that can be committed by public officers. Sandigan Bayan has jurisdiction, 'di ba? So, hindi siya pare-pareho. You have to look sa crime, kung ano yung crime committed, 'di ba? Not exactly, you don't, at this point, at this stage when determining jurisdiction, hindi mo pa alam kung ano talaga yung crime, 'di ba? Kasi hindi pa mapuprove, kailangan pa ng trial, kailangan pa ng judgment na na-commit nga yung crime. So, yung alleged crime, yung nasa information, which i-discuss natin later isa-isa, yung yung final na kaso against that person, yun yung basis mo for jurisdiction, not the crime proven. Kasi paano mo gagamitin yung crime proven? Di mo pa nga na-prove kasi kailangan ng trial. Jurisdiction, starting stage yan. So, saan mo ifa-file? Ibe-base mo dun sa crime, sa allegation, sa kung ano yung crime na kinumit mo daw. 'Di ba? Hindi pa proven na kinumit mo nga. Pero, yun yung magiging basis mo. Hindi yung crime proved. That's just illogical and impossible. So, yun yung basis mo. Yung subject matter nun, yung crime na yon, yung offense na yon, anong court ang may jurisdiction to hear that case? That's one aspect of it. Subject matter jurisdiction. Second, territorial jurisdiction. So, yung courts, they only, for example, regional trial courts. Kaya nga regional 'di ba? Sa certain region lang siya may jurisdiction. Municipal trial court, sa ganyang municipality lang siya may jurisdiction. Hindi pwedeng i-file yung case, for example, na na-commit sa Makati, sa Davao, 'di ba? That doesn't make sense. Okay? It's impractical, it's illogical. Yun yung sa remedial law It has to be efficient, it has to be practical. So, alam mo yung evidence mo nandun sa Makati, ba't mo ititrace sa Davao? What the hell? 'Di ba? So, there's that territorial jurisdiction. And bakit importante na lagyan ng territories yung mga courts? To avoid clogging of the docket, 'di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng kahit saan lang. The point is, i-divide yung mga cases para ma-divide yung load, para mas efficient yung administration of justice, mas speedy, 'di ba? And for practical purposes, kasi yung mga tao, if a crime is committed at a certain locality or a certain territory or region, syempre, yung mga witnesses mo most likely diyan i-hail. Yung defendant mo, yung plaintiff mo, most likely nandiyan din. Yung evidence, 'di ba? Andyan din. Yung police na investigate, kumuha ng evidence, 'di ba? Nag ng crime scene, nandun din yung crime scene mismo, nandun din. So it's just practical, 'di ba? That there should be, that a criminal case be heard in a court where it happened. Okay? There should be territorial jurisdiction. Bawal mong i-file kung saan-saan lang, 'di ba? Porket friend mo yung judge sa Cebu, doon mo i-file. Hindi pwede. Or may kapit ka doon, hindi pwede. So, dapat may territorial jurisdiction yung court para proper yung pag-file ng case before it. Jurisdiction over the person. The person charged must have been brought before it for trial, forcibly by arrest or upon voluntary submission to the court. So, kailangan there's jurisdiction over the person, which we will explain later na in detail. Hindi pwedeng mag-proceed yung trial na hindi first na-acquire yung jurisdiction over the persons involved. Okay. So, yan yung tatlo. Subject matter jurisdiction, territorial jurisdiction, jurisdiction over the person. Okay. Kailangan ko pa bang i-discuss kung ano yung criminal procedure? To go back to it. See, sorry if it's disorganized because I'm just studying a lot. Doon na siguro kasi sa syllabus criminal jurisdiction eh. Basta alam naman natin kung ano yung criminal jurisdiction. Basically, we've learned this in class. What criminal procedure is. And that we have the adversarial system. So, if you haven't, you can easily find it sa mga textbooks and reviewers. What an adversarial system is, basically, that's, you know, the judge is not as involved, and then we have the plaintiff and defendant just, you know, fighting it out. Okay. So, let's discuss jurisdiction more. Jurisdiction over the subject matter. Okay. Jurisdiction is conferred only by constitution or by law. Okay. Naka-ano na yan eh. Nakasabi na dyan sa batas. Statute or constitution. Kung aling courts yung may jurisdiction. It cannot be conferred upon a court by the accused or by expressed waiver. No. It's either by law or by constitution. So again, as discussed, in order to determine whether there is subject matter jurisdiction, the complaint or information must be examined. So, kung ano nga yung case na i-file. Also, pwedeng mag-change, diba? Mag-change yung statutes, yung criminal statutes natin. In determining jurisdiction over subject matter, it is determined by statute in force at the time of the commencement of the action. Okay? Not at the time of its commission. Even if the penalty that may be imposed at the time of commission is less and does not fall under the court's jurisdiction. Yung reckoning point mo for determining which court has jurisdiction is the time of filing the complaint or information, as the case may be. Time of the commencement of the action. Hindi commission. So, possible na kunwari lang, this is not, kunwari, MTC yung may jurisdiction to certain crime, hindi na ako magsabi ko ng crime kasi baka ma-confuse pa kayo, certain crime sa time ng commission, pero nilipat siya sa RTC, yung RTC na may exclusive original jurisdiction, or say yung family court daw, bigla yung may jurisdiction over that case sa time na of the filing. Pero sa time ng commission, dun pa siya sa MTC. So, ano yung susundin? Time of the filing. So, jurisdiction not determined by imposable penalty, but by penalty prescribed by law. In criminal prosecutions, it is settled that the jurisdiction of the court is not determined by what may be meted out to the offender after trial, or even by the result of the evidence that will be presented at the trial, but by the extent of the penalty which the law imposes for the misdemeanor, crime, or violation charged in the complaint. Okay, so I guess okay na yung subject matter jurisdiction. Let's go to territorial jurisdiction naman. Ano pa yung mga kailangan natin So, in determining where any of the essential ingredients of the crime alleged took place. That court, kung saan yung territory na yun, yung court na may territorial jurisdiction, kung saan nangyari yung any of the essential ingredients, pwedeng magkaroon ng jurisdiction to try and hear the case. It's also kasi possible that, some of the elements of the crime are committed in, say, Makati, some of it in Quezon City, some of it in Mandaluyong. So, where? Any of the three, diba? But you also have to look sa subject matter jurisdiction and sa jurisdiction over the person. When you talk about territorial jurisdiction, parang venue yung inaano dito eh. Aling court talaga yung pwedeng mag-hear ng case. Determine mo yung venue. The jurisdiction over the person of the accused, pwedeng upon his arrest or upon his voluntary submission. So, let's talk about the effects of voluntary appearance of the accused. Seeking affirmative relief is deemed to be a submission to the jurisdiction of the court. Affirmative relief. The voluntary submission may be affected by filing a motion to quash appearing for arraignment or participating in the trial or giving bail. Okay. Pero yung bawal is when you question jurisdiction. If you question jurisdiction, that's not counted as voluntary appearance. Kasi, diba? Ba't magkakaroon ng jurisdiction yung court when you file the case sa court questioning its jurisdiction? Ops, court, you don't have jurisdiction to hear this case. Yun na nga yung pinaka-essence ng tinatanong mo eh. Tinatanong mo yung jurisdiction niya. Ibig sabihin, since the jurisdiction is still in question, wala pang jurisdiction yung court. Pero if ibang pleading yung final mo, that's considered as voluntary appearance kasi you're already participating eh. It's like an assent that you recognize the jurisdiction of the court over your person. So again, pleadings or motions that specifically pray for avoidance of the jurisdiction of the court, that's just a special appearance. That's not considered as voluntary appearance. So, yung mga motion to quash, considered na siya na voluntary appearance unless the ground is, again, lack of jurisdiction over the person of the accused. Or pwede din, if an arrest was made, diba? If an arrest is made, that's another way to acquire jurisdiction over the person. But if you question the legality of the arrest or the validity of the arrest, then that's like questioning the jurisdiction of the court, diba? Like, the only reason why the court acquired jurisdiction over your person is because of the arrest. But the question now is the arrest valid? Kasi if the arrest is not valid, how can the court acquire jurisdiction over your person? So that's also considered as a special appearance and not a voluntary submission or not a voluntary appearance of the accused, which is also a way for the court to acquire jurisdiction over the person of said accused. While custody of the law is required for a court to act upon a bail application, it is not required for the adjudication of other reliefs, where the mere application constitutes a submission of one's person to the court's jurisdiction. Okay, so what's the difference of jurisdiction over the subject matter and jurisdiction over the person of the accused? So, as to the nature, jurisdiction over the subject matter refers to the authority of the court to hear and determine a particular criminal case. Jurisdiction over the person of the accused requires that the person charged with offense must have been brought into the forum for trial. How acquired? Of course, subject matter derived by law. Sa person of the accused as mentioned, by arrest or by voluntary surrender. Okay. So, Pwede rin voluntary surrender yung consent, express or implied, or participation, like that. By waiver of objections. As to objections, objection that the court has no jurisdiction over the subject matter may be made at any stage of the proceeding, and the right to make such objection is never waived. For jurisdiction over the person of the accused, if he fails to make objection in time, like before arraignment, through a motion to quash, he will be deemed to have waived it. So, pag yung court wala talagang subject matter jurisdiction at any case, at any stage, wala talaga siyang jurisdiction. So, pwede mo siyang i-question anytime. Kasi wala talaga, parang void lahat. Wala siyang authority. But if wala sana siyang jurisdiction of the person of the accused, you can only raise it before arraignment through a motion to quash on the ground of lack of jurisdiction over the person. Kasi, if beyond that point, it's considered that you have waived it. That is waivable. Why is it waivable? Kasi, pwede ngang voluntary para ka na rin nag-submit sa court. Ang importante yung court may subject matter jurisdiction. Now let's talk about the principle of adherence of jurisdiction. Once a court has acquired jurisdiction, that jurisdiction continues until the court has done all it can do in exercise of that jurisdiction. And as a general rule, the jurisdiction once vested cannot be withdrawn or defeated by a subsequent amendment of the information, a new law amending the rules of jurisdiction. Exception is when there is an express provision in the statute, or when the statute is clearly intended to apply to actions pending before its enactment. Objections to jurisdiction is a general rule. An objection based on the ground that the court lacks jurisdiction over the offense charged, which is subject matter jurisdiction, may be raised or considered motu proprio by the court at any stage of the proceedings or on appeal. Kasi nga, as discussed, wala talagang jurisdiction from the beginning. Hindi siya mako-correct. However, there is an exception. It has been held that the party cannot invoke the jurisdiction of a court to ensure affirmative relief against his opponent, and after obtaining or failing to obtain such relief, repudiate or question that same jurisdiction. Okay, so but this exception applies only to a very particular case, such as in Tiham versus Sibong Hanoy. Okay, so in Tiham versus Sibong Hanoy, the facts of the case show that from the time the surety became a quasi-party on July 31, 1948, it could have raised the question of the lack of jurisdiction of the Court of First Instance of Cebu to take cognizance of the present action by reason of the sum of money involved, which, according to the law then in force, was within the original exclusive jurisdiction of inferior courts. But it failed to do so. Instead, at several stages of the proceedings in the Court Ako, as well as in the Court of Appeals, it invoked the jurisdiction of said courts to obtain affirmative relief, and submitted its case for a final adjudication on the merits. It was only after an adverse decision was rendered by the Court of Appeals that it finally woke up to raise the question of jurisdiction. Were we to sanction such conduct on its part, we would be in effect declaring as useless all the proceedings had in the present case since it commenced on July 19, 1948, and compel judgment creditors to go up to their cavalry once more. So, umabot na ng Court of Appeals Diba? Ito naman, it's a case na exception to the bawal. Kasi, parang this is like naninigurado na to No? Inisip niyo parang gagawin niyang bala if adverse yung decision. That's a no-no. Diba? That's a no-no. So, it's like estoppel However, the Supreme Court clarified that estoppel by laches may be invoked to bar the issue of lack of jurisdiction only in cases in which the factual milieu is analogous to that in Tiham. So, as a general rule, pwede mo talagang ma-raise at any stage of the proceedings, pero wag mong gagamitin na parang technique, no? To avoid an adverse decision, such as in the case of Tiham. In such controversies, laches should be clearly present, that is, a lack of jurisdiction must have been raised so belatedly as to warrant the presumption that the party entitled to assert it had abandoned or declined to assert it. The operation of the principle of estoppel on the question of jurisdiction seemingly depends upon whether the lower court actually had jurisdiction or not. If it had no jurisdiction but the case was tried and decided upon the theory that it had jurisdiction, the parties are not barred on appeal from assailing such jurisdiction. Pero dito naakyat na sa Court of Appeals, for the same must exist as a matter of law and may not be conferred by consent of the parties or by estoppel. However, if the lower court had jurisdiction and the case was heard and decided upon a given theory, such, for instance, as that the court had no jurisdiction, the party who induced it to adopt such theory will not be permitted on appeal to assume an inconsistent position that the lower court had jurisdiction. So this is a case of Magno versus People. Okay. Let me just look for I'm gonna pause the video for a bit. I'm gonna look for a different material where we can discuss jurisprudence, some class materials that in RemRev class. Okay, so continue tayo. Yung next nating i-discuss is yung flow ko magulo na inaano ko lang na ako nag-aaral. Okay, ano yung jurisdiction ng courts? Okay, check nyo na lang kasi baka updated naman yata to. In-update ko na yata to. Yeah. Okay. Careful kayo sa reviewers, ha. Tignan nyo yung year. Kasi, inamend na to ng ilang beses. Yung sa REM. Ang daming inamend. Make sure the materials are very recent. Huwag kayong kukuha ng prior 2020. Dapat yung rules of court nyo 2020 or more recent. Hindi ko lang alam kung may mas recent pang codal, pero yung gamit ko kasi is 2020. Alright. So, alam naman natin yung courts. Diba? Basic yun. Hindi ka aabot ng 4th year if hindi. You have municipal trial courts, metropolitan trial courts, municipal circuit trial courts. Yan yung tinatawag na inferior court or lower court, pero hindi naman sila inferior That's just, they're not any less. It's just yung hierarchy, kumbaga. Hierarchy sa cases. Diba? Kailangan may hierarchy para as much as possible hindi maklog yung Supreme Court, which is, highest court of the land. MTC, exclusive jurisdiction niya, alam niyo naman siguro yung municipality, diba? Kung ano yung municipality, yung kinaiba ng municipal sa region, diba? Municipal, kasama dyan yung cities mo, yung municipalities mo. Okay, review niyo na lang para pag nag-aaral, dapat naiintindihan lahat ng bagay na andon. Pag hindi naiintindihan yung isang concept, meaning kailangan i-research or balikan para lahat ng words dyan dapat naiintindihan. So, municipal trial court, exclusive original jurisdiction. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng exclusive original jurisdiction? Medyo pasadahan ko na lang din, pero assume ko nang alam nyo na rin. Siya lang yung may jurisdiction dyan. Ibig sabihin, kahit yung higher court, walang jurisdiction dyan. Kapag yan, yung certain crime, nag-fall sa exclusive original jurisdiction ng kahit MTC, which is the lower court, kahit yung higher court, di niya pwedeng kunin yan. Kasi yung subject matter jurisdiction, kinonfer doon sa court na yan. Diba? So, meron silang kanya-kanya. Meron din silang mga concurrent jurisdiction. Pwede mo i-file sa MTC, pwede mo i-file sa RTC, pwede sa pwede mong i-file sa ganito, pwede, pili ka lang, pwede yon. Pero again, isa lang. Once na file mo na dyan, kung meron jurisdiction, yung 2 or more courts, any of them can hear the case. Pag final mo dyan sa isa, yun na yun, kasi bawal kang mag-forum shopping. Bawal mong i-file kung saan-saan pwede to get a favorable decision. That's not proper. Okay? So, municipal tri-court, exclusive regional jurisdiction, violation of traffic laws, rules, and regulations. Hindi ako magaling mag-memorize, to be honest. And I don't know if magaling kayo mag-memorize. If magaling kayo memorize, then good for you. Pero sa akin kasi parang, I just try to attach yung parang making connections, comprehension pa. So, the way I would quote-unquote memorize this, kasi hindi ako magaling mag-memorize this, bakit traffic laws, rules, and regulations? Alam kong traffic laws, rules, and regulations sa MTC yan. Kasi, traffic laws dyan sa city Ang weird naman na i-region mo pa, diba? Tama lang na basta traffic laws, rules, and regulations, MTC. So, that's how I study. Kasi, I don't think ipapa-enumerate naman lahat Pero, pag may nakita akong traffic rules, alam ko na agad na MTC yan. Kasi, practical lang, traffic rules. Alam naman itapon pa sa RTC yung traffic violations, traffic laws, and rules and regulations. Again, the concept is, kung saan mas madali for the court to get all the necessary information in order to make a proper judgment, diba? MTC. So, violation of traffic laws, rules, and regulations, MTC. Violations of rental law, MTC rin. Bakit? Kasi, dyan lang din diba? Rent. Dyan lang din. Violation of municipal and city ordinances. Ito, madali nang isipin. Kasi, andito na sa wording municipal and city ordinances. And, yun naman talaga yung jurisdiction ng MTC within the municipal level. Violations of BP bilang 22 or bouncing checks law. Ito yung medyo tandaan kasi it can be quite confusing. BP22, pwedeng RTC siguro yan. Iisipin yung ganon. Pero ito, kailangan i-memorize na basta BP22 or bouncing checks law, regardless kung magkano pa yan, basta violations of BP22, yung may exclusive original jurisdiction, municipal trial court. Offenses punishable with imprisonment of not more than 6 years. So, pag saktong, not more than 6 years. So, pag saktong 6 years, MTC pa. That is irrespective of the amount of fine. Correct me if I'm wrong sa comments Provided, however, that in offenses involving damage to property through criminal negligence, they shall have exclusive original jurisdiction. Tama ba? Not more than 6 years. Yeah. Pag not more than 6 years, or 6 years sakto sa MTC. Pag 6 years and 1 day na sa RTC. Offenses where the only penalty provided by law is a fine, where such fine is not greater than parang 4,000 pesos tapos naging 50,000 pesos. Ganon. Check nyo na lang. Pero parang 50,000 pesos na to ngayon. So, nitong effective April 11, 2022, yung 4,000 change sa 50,000. Yun yung threshold amount. Double check nyo na lang. Lagi ako nagdi-disclaimer na double check na lang, baka kasi ako sisihin niya parehas na tayo nag-aaral dito. Okay, this is not a teach you video or lecture video. This is a study with me video. So, yun. Yung kailangan lang naman talaga tandaan dito is BP22, crimes punishable with imprisonment of not more than 6 years, regardless of fine, except na lang if yung crime is damage to property through criminal negligence. Tapos, if fine lang yung imposable penalty, as long as hindi nag-exceed sa 50,000 pesos yung fine, MTC. Okay. So, let's go to RTC naman. Exclusive original jurisdiction. Criminal cases not falling within the exclusive jurisdiction of any court, tribunal, or body. Again, bakit may tribunal or body? Kasi, for example, sa labor cases, minsan LA, NLRC na yan eh. Direkta, CA na yan eh. So, check nyo rin yung mga constitutional bodies kung ano yung jurisdiction. Kasi, sometimes considered sila as equal sa RTC eh. Akyat agad sa Court of Appeals. May mga ganon. So, if hindi nakasabi sa batas kung sino yung may exclusive original jurisdiction yan, yung general rule is sa RTC mo i-file. So, ayun. Criminal actions or proceedings for violations of the Omnibus Election Code, cases of written defamation or libel, criminal actions involving violations of the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, money laundering cases, those committed by public officers and private persons who are in conspiracy with such public officers, however, shall be under the jurisdiction of the Sandigan Bayan. So, money laundering cases, RTC, unless committed by public officers or kahit private persons pero in conspiracy sila with public officers, then yung mga taong yun, itatry sa Sandigan Bayan, hindi sa RTC. Pero kung hindi naman sila public officers, kung hindi naman sila private persons in conspiracy with public officers, and it's a money laundering case in RTC. Okay, ano pa? Let's see. Intellectual property law. So, violations of the intellectual property law, that's with the RTC. Violations of the Cybercrime Prevention Act, RTC. Crimes punishable under the Agrarian Reform Law, RTC. Crimes against humanity, RTC. So, yun. Hindi ko na sinabi yung mga threshold na amount, like yung exceeding 6 years. Matik na kasi, diba? Again, if not falling under the exclusive original jurisdiction of any other court, then pwede sa RTC. So, pag more than 6 years yung imposable penalty na imprisonment, then matik RTC. Kasi hindi siya sa MTC. Same sa fine. If exceeding 50,000 pesos and fine lang yung imposable penalty, matik sa RTC. Family courts. Okay. So, family courts, parang RTC yan eh, na may special, yun yung tingin ko dyan eh. Correct me if I'm wrong. But family courts, criminal cases where one or more of the accused is below one or more, kahit isa lang dyan, of the accused, yung accused na, hindi yung biktima, is below 18 years of age, but not less than 9 years of age. Kasi, pag 9 years of age, wala nang criminal siguro yan. Or when one or more of the victims is a minor, minor, at the time of the commission of the offense. At the time mo is commission of the offense. So, pag tumanda na sila, doesn't matter, basta yung edad nila at the time of the commission of the offense, yun yung basis. So, pag yung accused, 9 to 18, or kapag yung victim, minor, which is below 18, kahit na less than 9 years old, doesn't matter. Sinabi yung 9 or 18 dito kasi yung criminal liability, parang pag below 9, parang wala na eh. Parang ano ka lang, child in conflict with the law, tas DDSWD. Hindi ko alam i-confirm nyo na lang. Yun. So, pag yung akusado, pag isa sa kanila minor, 9 to 18, or kapag kayong victim minor, at the time of the commission of offense, at family courts. Bakit family courts? Kasi mas sila mas may specialization sila, mas may expertise sila to deal with children. Syempre iba naman yung procedure kapag I mean, medyo iibahin mo ng konti how the trial would go if it involves children. Diba? Siyempre, iba. Medyo mas tempered and alam mo yan, iba yung pag-treat sa adults with much more kindness and consideration kapag may batang involved. Cases against minors cognizable under the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs as amended. So, actually, hindi ko na kailangan sabihin to, basta may minor. Violations of RA 7610 or the Child Abuse Act. Yan. Cases of domestic violence against women and children. Cases of violence against women and their children under RA number 9262 or the VAUC Act. Okay, violation and again anti-violation against women and children. So, tandaan lang sa family court, basta domestic cases, child abuse cases involving children, or involving women and children, domestic abuses, violation of VAUC, mga ganyan. So, family court yan. The family court has no jurisdiction in a murder case where the minor victims are dead, of course. Kasi yung purpose, again, ng ilalagay mo siya sa family court kasi mas tempered yung procedure nila dun in consideration with the tender age of the parties involved. Okay, so Sandigan Bayan jurisdiction. Violations of the anti-graft law. Pag money laundering case again, RTC. Medyo confusing to kasi money. Ako confused ako dito, lalo nun sa law school eh. Basta, money laundering case RTC unless may public officer involved or may private persons na in conspiracy with public officers. Pero yung ibang mga corruption at money, usually sa Sandigan, basta isipin na pag Sandigan Bayan, public officials, public officers, public employees. So, violations of anti-graft law. Yan. Sandigan Bayan. Bribery and corruption of public officials. Sandigan Bayan. Hindi necessarily SPL lang yung nasa Sandigan Bayan. Pwedeng RPC. Merong bribery and merong mga corruption sa RPC. Violation of RA 1379. Forfeiture of illegally acquired wealth. Office-related offenses. Office-related offenses sa public office. Malamang. Hindi corp. Okay? Criminal offenses and sequestration cases. So, ano yung sequestration cases? Google ko para talagang sakto. Okay. Okay. So, sequestration cases, kukunin mo yung isang property, isi-seize mo for the benefit of the state. Okay. Sequester. Plunder. Yun. Sandigan Bayan. Money laundering committed by public officers and private persons. Again. So, ayan. Yun yung subject matter jurisdiction. Yung Sandigan Bayan, however, regardless of the crime involved, if executive branch siya na public official or public officer, and yung salary grade niya is 27 or higher, yung saktong salary grade 27 and up, then Sandigan Bayan also. Same with Congress. Salary grade 27 and up. So, judiciary, regardless of salary grade, Sandigan Bayan agad yan. Same with constitutional commissions. And, there's this blanket statement na lahat ng salary grade 27 and up. Okay. So, basically, yung tandaan is lahat ng salary grade 27 and up. Except sa judiciary and CONCOM, regardless of the salary grade, Sandigan Bayan sila. So again, private individuals charged as co-principals, accomplices, or accessories with the public officers or employees, including those employed in GOCCs, shall be tried jointly sa Sandigan Bayan. So, kapag yung bribery yung case and walang damage or less than 1 million siya, the regional trial court has exclusive original jurisdiction. If the information does not allege any damage to the government or alleged damage or bribery is less than 1 million. So, yung bribery, as a general rule, RTC. Pero pag yung bribery may damage to government and may damage na above 1 million, pag walang damage or kapag ka less than 1 million RTC, kapag ka naka 1 million yung damage, Sandigan Bayan. I'm sure kung 1 million or dapat more than 1 million, double check ko mamaya. But yeah, parang pag saktong 1 million, Sandigan Bayan. Iko-correct ko na lang sarili ko later, tignan ko mamaya. Meron ding case na parang kapag may public official involved, tapos sa RTC, hindi siya tinatry sa RTC kung saan may territorial jurisdiction as an exception to the general rule. Instead, sa ibang region. Bakit? Kasi ina-assume, which is tama naman talaga i-assume, na yung public official, lalo pag big fish, may influence siya dun sa region na yun. Okay? Undeniably so, binoto siya ng mga tao dun eh. Nanalo siya. Especially pag elected official. So, para maiwasan na magka-influence siya doon, para maiwasan yung bias, para ma-ensure na talagang wala siyang hand sa procedure, walang any sort of influence. Hindi lang sa court siya may influence, huwag nating assume na yung court, dun siya may influence eh. Kahit sa witnesses nandun or sa mga police officials nandun, di ba? I mean, like, we'd like to assume the good in people, but you know, you have to put in a system that protects us from those who want to the system. Okay, so I guess that's it for jurisdiction. Grabe yung haba. And that's just the first part of the that's just the first topic of the bar syllabus. Means to be mo jurisdiction lang, pero dapat pag nag-aaral tayo, hindi yung definition lang ng criminal jurisdiction or what. We shouldn't stop there. We should go beyond. What else? Where can I get yung parang, let's see, appellate jurisdiction, discuss ko pa ba? Maybe next time. Kapagod eh. For now, yan lang muna sa jurisdiction. Mga appellate as a general rule, iaakit mo lang naman eh. Pero sometimes kasi may skip eh. No. Siguro when we discuss appeals, saka ako na lang eh. So difficult to study. I mean, I still have to study this topic again on my own after this video because I feel that I couldn't discuss everything now. I mean, it takes a lot of research. So what I want to do now is I want to discuss previous bar questions for jurisdiction. Para kompleto, like we got the concepts down, he cited some jurisprudence. Now for the questions. Kaso what I don't like looking into previous bar questions on the topic of jurisdiction is that, of course, luma na to. Diba? I'm using Quamto. I think okay lang namang sabihin I'm using Quamto kasi everyone's using Quamto. Who doesn't? Thank you, UST, for compiling bar questions, which is of course available to the public anyway, but they did the compiling. Okay. Pili ako ng mga bar questions na hindi tungkol sa jurisdiction ng subject matter. Kasi baka mali eh. Ito. 2012 bar. If the Supreme Court en banc is equally divided in opinion covering an original action, the case shall be. By the way, yung Supreme Court jurisdiction nasa Consti. I think if you look sa PolyRev kong playlist, diniscuss ko yun eh. Yung article, oh my god, I forgot. Was it 8? I think it's 8. Yeah, is it 8? Kasi 6 legislative eh, 7 executive, 8 yata yun. So, pwede nyo balikan yon, or, you know, do the right thing. Pick up your caudal and check. Yeah, check. So, if the Supreme Court, if the Supreme Court en banc is equally divided in opinion covering an original action, the case shall be equally divided. Meaning tayo sila. Para maging equal divide, kasi 15 sila doon. Diba? So, pero for some reason, may hindi nagboto siguro. So, my guess is that they have to do it again. They have to argue among themselves and maybe do a revote. Yeah. So the answer here is, where the court en banc is equally divided in opinion, the necessary majority vote cannot be had. Kasi nga, di ba, collegiate yan. Same sa Court of Appeals. 2 points sila. The court shall deliberate on it anew. Tama. Again. However, if after such deliberation still no decision is reached, yes, hindi natin na-contemplate yan. The court shall in an original action filed with it dismiss the case. Oh, I didn't know that. They will dismiss. Oh my gosh. So, paano na yung resolution? Diba? Para, I think there's a rule that dapat lahat to be disposed, lahat dapat i-dispose kahit paano, and that, you know, walang reason para hindi magbigay ng decision. So, I guess kung ano yung decision ng Court of Appeals, I don't know. Pero dismiss sabi, this is, I guess if it's a criminal action, dismiss like it's an acquittal in favor, like, I don't know now. Kasi kahit yung sagot dito, parang kulang. In all matters incidental to the main action where the court en banc is equally divided in opinion, the relief sought shall be denied. Okay, denial. Denial. Kung relief, denial. I guess kung criminal case, acquittal. Not sure. Hindi crime protect. Pero pag relief sought, denied. Yun pala yun. Distinguish questions of law from questions of fact. Okay. Let's try to do this one. Questions of law, yun yung questions of fact kasi yun yung questions of law, yun na lang yung sa Supreme Court eh. Questions of fact, syempre is a set of facts like the alleged circumstances that transpired, yun yung questions of fact, like sino pumatay, na yung weapon ginamit, mga ganyan, questions of fact yan. Evidentiary matters, I guess, yun yung term. Questions of law, of course, you know, law. Kaya ba talaga natin yung explain? Kasi yun, gets natin yun. So, yun yung pag-distinguish. Questions of law kasi, pwedeng constitutionality of the law, what law is applicable, propriety of the law applied, mga ganyan. Yun. Pero, questions of fact, yun yung evidentiary matters. Factual milieu. Yung sagot dito is, a question of law is when the doubt or difference arises as to what law is on a certain set of facts. While a question of fact is when the doubt or difference arises as to the truth or falsehood of alleged facts. Ito yung iniiwasan ko to define a word using the same word. Dito kasi parang dinefine niya yung law, ginamit niya rin yung law, facts, whatever. Yun yung recommended answer About this one. Good Feather Corporation, through its president, Al Pacino, filed with the RTC a complaint for specific performance against Robert White. Instead of filing an answer to the complaint, Robert White filed a motion to dismiss the complaint on the ground of lack of appropriate board resolution from the board of directors of Good Feather Corporation to show the authority of Al Pacino to represent the corporation and file the complaint in its behalf. Sabagay. The RTC granted the motion to dismiss, and accordingly, it ordered the dismissal of the complaint. Al Pacino filed a motion for reconsideration, which the RTC denied. As nothing more could be done by Al Pacino before the RTC, he filed an appeal before the Court of Appeals. Robert White moved for dismissal of the appeal on the ground that the same involved purely a question of law and should have been filed with the Supreme Court. However, Al Pacino claimed that the appeal involved mixed questions of fact and law because there must be a factual determination if needed, if indeed Al Pacino was duly authorized by Good Feather Corporation to file the complaint. Whose position is correct? Explain. Okay. Diyan mula na ako doon. Pero yung tanong lang naman is, whose position is correct? Explain. So, hindi natin kailangan mag-isip ng kung ano-ano. Ano ba yung position ni Al Pacino? Sabi ni Al Pacino, yung appeal niya involving mixed questions of fact and law, that's why sa Court of Appeals. Sabi ni Robert White, yung appeal dapat sa Supreme Court kasi purely question of law. Kasi yung pag pure questions of law, nandun yan sa Consti na pwede mong idiretso sa Supreme Court. Para sa akin, tama si Al Pacino kasi mixed to ng questions of fact and law. Why? Yung kina-question nga, yung ground for dismissal is the authority of Al Pacino to represent the organization. Meron bang board resolution? So, kailangan mong pagkita mo na may board resolution ka. Hindi siya question of law lang. Pag question of law lang, wala na yung facts Importante yung board resolution Pag may board resolution na pinakita si Al Pacino na may authority siya at regular and valid and nakapasa sa evidentiary tests, acceptable sa law, yung evidence na yun, okay na may board resolution siya. Meaning valid. Meaning, applicable na yung law na sa Court of Appeals na i-file. Tama, diba? So, question is, I guess, issue spotting tayo. Kung mixed facts of law ba or law lang. So, mixed to ng facts of law kasi kailangan mo ng board resolution. So, let's check the answer. So, yes, Al Pacino is correct in claiming that the appeal involved is a mixed questions of fact and law. There is a question of law when the doubt or difference arises as to what the law is on certain state of facts. On the other hand, there is question of fact when the doubt or difference arises as to the truth or falsehood of alleged facts. I wouldn't answer like this personally. I would state it differently, like direct to the point. Hindi ko na-explain yung questions of fact or questions of law kasi hindi naman tinatanong kung ano yung question of fact or question of law. Yung sinasabi lang whose position is correct. Since the complaint was dismissed due to alleged lack of appropriate board resolution from the board of directors of Good Feather Corporation, the appeal will necessarily involve the factual determination of the authority to file the complaint for said corporation, hence the appeal before the Court of Appeals. The way I would answer this, I'm not an expert because I would be taking the bar for the first time, is whose position is correct? Al Pacino's position is correct. Tapos sasabihin ko, ano ba yung Al Pacino claims that the appeal involved involved mixed questions of facts and law. Okay? Because, lagyan natin yung argument na, there must be a factual determination. Tapos, nalagay ko, factual determination of whether he has authority to represent the corporation. Yun yung parang first sentence ko siguro. Tapos, yung next ko is, according to jurisprudence, nalagay ko naman alam which jurisprudence. According to jurisprudence, mixed questions of fact and law. Tama ba? Kailangan ko na bang i-define yung, kailangan ko ba i-define yung questions of fact and law? Ayoko eh. Hindi yun yung question eh. Although dinefine na dito eh. Define nyo. Ito yung sundin nyo, yung recommended. Pero, you know, since you're studying with me, I'm trying to explore my options. I'm probably gonna say, since the case involves, since the resolution of the case, yun yung siguro yung second paragraph ko, since the resolution of the case involves the determination of the authority of Al Pacino to represent the organization, the fact that the board of directors have granted Al Pacino authority, has granted Al Pacino authority, must be proven. Tapos, yun yung parang ano ko. Tapos, must be proven. And then, yung next ko is, if, sa jurisdiction yung topic at REMREV, if, it must be proven, which is a question of fact. Yun lang, yung sabihin ko. Which is a question of fact. Next is, if, therefore, if it is a question of, which is a question of fact. Tapos nalagay ko rin kung bakit may question of law. Kasi mixed eh. If, okay, explain ko pa ba kung anong law involved? Na-confuse ako. Tagalan na ako. Okay, babagsak na ako. Sobrang tagal. If it is a question of fact. Okay. Tapos, the question of law as to, ano ba yung question of law dito? As to which court has jurisdiction. Ayan. Ayan. Which court has jurisdiction. Ay, hindi. And the question of law is determining which court has jurisdiction. Okay. Tapos, i-mix ko na siguro yung application and conclusion. Therefore, okay. Therefore, Al Pacino's claim or contention is correct that the case involves a mixed question of fact and law. Yes, ganoon. Kaso parang easy lang yan, no? Walang law. Okay, ulitin natin sa utak ko. Hindi ko kasi tinatype eh. Type ko nga. So, ang gulo. Yeah. apologies, but this is a process. So the way I would answer it is Al Pacino. Sige natin kung ilang words. Al Pacino's possession is correct. Yan lang siguro yung first paragraph ko. Tapos the law, lagay natin. The law states that the law naman talaga eh. The law states that mixed questions of law and fact from wait. The law states that the Supreme Court is not a trier of facts. Iba talaga pag tinatype, is not a trier of facts. The law states that the Supreme Court is not a trier of facts. And that appeal from the RTC of matters involving mixed questions of law and fact may be tried in the Court of Appeals. Okay. Yun na yung natin, law application. In this case, the determination of the question of fact of whether or not Al Pacino is given authority by the board of directors of Good Feather Corporation must first be proven. Huwag ka ilagay yung prejudication, hindi naman kailangan kung anong evidence eh. Must be proven in trial before the question of law of which of the determining the propriety of which court has jurisdiction. Ano ba yung tatang ulit? Which court has jurisdiction to try and hear the appeal Al Pacino. Therefore, Okay, yun na. So, ito na yung na-type kong sagot. Al Pacino's position is correct. The law states that the Supreme Court is not the trier of facts and that an appeal from the RTC of matters involving mixed questions of law and fact may be tried in the Court of Appeals. In this case, the question of fact of whether or not Al Pacino was given authority by the Board of Directors of Goodfeather Corporation must first be proven in trial before the question of law determining the propriety of which court has jurisdiction to try and hear the appeal. Question of law determining the propriety of which court has jurisdiction to try and hear the appeal of Al Pacino. Therefore, Al Pacino is correct in his position that the appeal invokes mixed questions of fact and law. Yun lang, maikli lang. So, okay, i-type. Ganun na lang yung gagawin natin lagi, ita-type natin. Yung, sagot kasi nila dito, whose position is correct, Al Pacino is correct in claiming that the appeal involved mixed questions of fact and law. There is a question of law when there is that, define na yung question of law. Sa akin kasi, yung legal basis mo dapat is yung, hindi ko sinasabing mali ito, pero sa akin lang. Yung naging legal basis na is define na yung question of law and question of fact. Sa akin, the law states that the Supreme Court is not a trier of facts and that an appeal from the RTC of matters involving mixed questions of law and fact may be tried in the Court of Appeals. Ang basis ko dito is parang yung saan ba gusto ko i-address anong law, saan ba yung issue is saan ba hini-hear yung mixed questions of fact and law, tama ba, 'di ba? Parang saan. So ito yung gusto kong i-address, hindi yung mixed questions of fact and law. Yung gusto kong i-address is, yung question is whose position is correct. Yung tinatanong kasi nila kung kung mixed questions of, basta yun, yung sa akin gusto kong sagutin saan. So final kasi ni Al Pacino sa yung appeal niya sa Court of Appeals dahil mixed questions of fact and law siya, kaya hindi niya diniretso. Yung kabila kasi sabi idiretso mo sa Supreme Court kasi question of law lang siya. So yung sa akin is i-file mo siya sa Court of Appeals muna kasi mixed questions of fact and law siya, and yung sabi is basta mixed question of fact and law, pwede wag mong idiretso sa Supreme Court kasi yung Supreme Court hindi siya trier of facts as a general rule. Let's say as a general rule. Lagyan natin as a general rule. Supreme Court. Pwede nyo naman define yung questions of fact and law. Wala kayo. Like this one. In this case, the question of fact, ito na yung application ko, of whether or not Al Pacino was given authority by the Board of Directors of Goodfather Corporation must first be proven in trial before the question of law determining the propriety of which court has jurisdiction to try and hear the appeal of Al Pacino. Pwede naman siguro i-define yung question of law, no? There is a question of when there is the difference in certain of facts. Ay, pwede ko ilagay yan. In this case, the question of fact of whether or not was given authority by the Board of Directors must first be proven in trial before the question of law determining the propriety. Whose position is correct Hindi pinapa-define Anyway, that's just me. Okay? Took so long. But yeah, that's how I would attack it personally. Give at least 3 instances where the Court of Appeals may act as a trial court. Okay. Ang dami. Yung suggested answers niya. Basahin ko na lang. In annulment of judgment under sections 5 and 6 Rule 47, Court of Appeals find prima facie merit in the petition. The same shall be given due course and summons shall be served on the respondent, after which trial will follow, where the procedure in ordinary civil cases shall be observed. When a motion for new trial is granted, yes. The Court of Appeals procedure in new trials shall be same as the granted by a regional trial court. Petition for habeas corpus shall be set for hearing. The petition for writs of amparo and habeas data, yes. Di ko pa pala sinabi yung jurisdiction ng Court of Appeals CTA next video. And the Court of Appeals have power to try cases and conduct hearings. Grant new trial based on newly discovered evidence. Okay. Does the Court of Appeals have jurisdiction to review the decisions in criminal and administrative cases of the Ombudsman? Ombudsman, ito yung prosecutor ng Sandigan Bayan. So, meron ba sa Court of Appeals? Yeah, I think so. Kasi si Sandigan Bayan, yung co-equal niya dyan yung RTC, hindi naman yung CA So, parang Sandigan Bayan, RTC, CA. So, yes. So, the answer is yes, but only in administrative cases. So, that's important to note. Only in administrative cases lang daw. In administrative and disciplinary cases, appeals from the Ombudsman must be taken to the Court of Appeals under Rule 43. Conversely, the Supreme Court has exclusive appellate jurisdiction over... Oh, okay, in criminal cases. That I didn't know. We learn new things every day. So, yung Court of Appeals pala, may jurisdiction siya sa Sandigan Bayan kapag administrative cases or disciplinary cases. Pag criminal case, diretso Supreme Court, hindi na Court of Appeals. Okay. Tama ba yung pinagsasabi ko na yung ombudsman, yun yung prosecutor ng Sandigan Bayan? Yeah, parang siya yung Oo, yan. Siya yung prosecutor ng Sandigan Bayan. Natutunan naman tayo sa law school kahit konti. The Court of Tax Appeals, Mark filed with the Bureau of Internal Revenue a complaint for refund of taxes paid, but it was not acted upon. So he filed a similar complaint with the Court of Tax Appeal, referred to one of its divisions. Mark's complaint was dismissed. Thus, he filed with the Court of Appeals a petition for certiorari under Rule 65. Ito yung Gadalege. Does the Court of Appeals have jurisdiction over Mark's petition? BIR, refund for taxes not acted upon. CTA, dismiss. Then he filed. Ba't ka magko-Court of Appeals, nag-CTA ka na? Mali. Diba? Hindi naman mas mataas yung Court of Appeals sa CTA, parehas lang sila eh. Court of Appeals pa rin yung CTA eh, kaso specialized sa tax cases eh, parang family court sa RTC eh. So no. Okay. No. Pero di ko alam kung paano ko sasabihin yan in English. Paragraph form. No, I'll just probably say no. The law states na walang ganyan, walang appeal, and that the proper thing to do is, diretso Supreme Court. Ganon. Baka pwede kong Englishin yung sinabi kong Court of Appeal, CTA, parang same level lang, but specialized sa tax. Yung CTA, hindi ka pwedeng mga bilang bahay. Aakyat ka pa vertical kung appeal, hindi pa side. So the answer is no, the procedure is governed by Section 11 of RA 9282. What is that? What is RA 9282? Tingnan natin kung anong RA 9282. May gawa ganito ba? May magsasite ba ng batas? Oh, Jurisdiction of Tax Appeals. Court of Tax Appeals. Yun pala. May batas. So, the procedure is governed by Section 11 of RA 9282. Duda ako makaka-cite. Which provides the decisions of a division of the CTA must be appealed to the CTA and bank. Hindi pala Supreme Court. Okay. So, pag division, nakalimutan natin yan. Pag division, okay, CTA or SC, i-appeal mo sa unbank. Yung lahat na sila mag-hear. Yeah, we missed that. Medyo mali tayo doon. So, CTA and then sa unbank. Division, then unbank. Further, the CTE now has the same rank. Oh! Tama yung logical reasoning natin na same rank. CTE now has the same rank as the Court of Appeals and is no longer considered as a quasi-judicial agency. Yes! Okay. At least medyo may point siguro tayo dan. It is likewise provided in the said law that the decisions of the CTE and bank are recognizable by the Supreme Court under Rule 45. Okay. Tama naman yung sagot natin. Na-miss lang natin na kailangan iakat sa NBank. Which is very important. Kasi NBank muna bago Supreme Court. Okay. Ang dami pa. Pagod na ako. Okay, I'll pause muna. Dami na nun. So, continue tayo sa bar questions after I take a break. Pero tuloy-tuloy naman yung papanoorin nyo kasi ikakat ko lang dito sa akin eh. Pero pag-upload ko, ano na eh. Okay, tuloy natin. Laban lang. Ano pa rin? Bar questions pa rin. True or false, in the exercise of its original jurisdiction, the Sandigan Bayan may grant petitions for the issuance of writ of habeas corpus. Pwede. Nagre-writ of habeas corpus naman yung ano eh. Sandigan Bayan. Pero hindi ko alam kung original jurisdiction na yun. Parang wala tayong sinabing ganun. So, anong sagot? False. Okay, false. Sandigan Bayan may grant petitions for habeas corpus only in aid of its appellate jurisdiction. Kasi sa question, original eh. Not in the exercise of original jurisdiction. Wala yun sa mga sinabi natin original jurisdiction kanina. Next, the Ombudsman, after conducting the requisite preliminary investigation, so, tama, siya nga yung prosecutor ng Sandigan Bayan, found probable cause to charge Governor Matigas in conspiracy with Carpintero, a private individual, for violating, hindi ko pa natatapos pero feeling ko yung tatanungin dito kung may jurisdiction ba over a private person. Yes, diba? Sa discussion kanina, basta in conspiracy with a public officer. Tignan natin kung ganun nga yung tanong. For violating Section 3 na RA 3019, before the information could be filed with the Sandigan Bayan, Governor Matigas was killed in an ambush. Kahit mamatay, pwede. This now is the information was filed against Governor Matigas and Carpintero. At the Sandigan Bayan, Carpintero through counsel filed a motion to quash information, lack of jurisdiction of Sandigan Bayan, arguing that with the death of Governor Matigas, there is no public officer charged in the information. It's a motion to quash legally tenable. Sa akin, hindi. Tutuloy pa rin yan. Kasi at the time of the filing, na-acquire na yung jurisdiction over the person dun sa private, dun kay Carpintero eh. And valid yung pag-file ng information kasi co-accused na yung public officer eh. So, no. Tingnan natin. No, tama. While it is true that by reason of the death of Governor Matigas, there is no longer any public officer with whom he can be charged for violation of RA 3019, it does not mean, however, that the allegation of conspiracy between them can no longer be proved or that their alleged conspiracy is already expunged. The only thing extinguished by the death of Governor Matigas is his criminal liability, which is personal. His death did not extinguish the crime, nor did it remove the basis of the charge of conspiracy between him and Carpintero. The requirement before a private person may be indicated for violation of Section 3G of RA 3019, among others, is that such private person must be alleged to have acted in conspiracy with a public officer. The law, however, does not require that such person must, in all instances, be indicated together with a public officer. Indeed, it is not necessary to join all alleged co-conspirators in an indictment for conspiracy. Ang haba ng sagot niya. Yung sa akin siguro, the way I would answer it is no. The motion to quash is not legally tenable because at the time of the filing of the complaint, no, yun. Itatype na naman natin, ayan na naman tayo eh. The way I would answer it is no. The motion muna. Okay, so ito na sagot ko. No, the motion to quash is not legally tenable. According to law, private persons who act in conspiracy for violations of RA 3019 with a public official subject to the jurisdiction of the Sandigan Bayan may be tried in the said court. The Sandigan Bayan, having subject matter jurisdiction over violations of RA 3019 and having already lawfully acquired jurisdiction over the person of Carpintero, can hear and try the case despite the death of his co-accused, which only extinguishes the criminal liability of the latter and not of Carpintero. Therefore, the ground for motion to quash information for lack of jurisdiction is unmeritorious and baseless, given that jurisdiction over Carpintero's person for violations of RA 3019 was lawfully acquired and will subsist. And subsists. Yun na lang. Medyo iba yung pag-atake ko, baya. Sa akin kasi motion to quash, tenable ba? So, ano yung legal basis ko? Yung legal basis ko dito is hindi siya tenable dahil na-acquire na yung jurisdiction. maybe tried, yeah, tama. Tapos yung application ko is, since RA 3019 siya, and lawful naman yung pag-try sa person, and yung criminal liability niya hindi naman na-extinguish, then yung wala ng ground yung motion to quash information for lack of jurisdiction. Okay, so that's how I would present it. Huwag niyo akong sobrang gayahin, ah. Siyempre, ito yung suggested answers dito. State at least 5 civil cases that fall under the exclusive original jurisdiction of the RTC. Not capable of pecuniary estimation. Yes. Title or possession of real property where assessed value exceeds 400,000. Yes. Admiralty, maritime is civil proto jurisdiction. Matters of probate, testate and testate exceeding 2 million. Alam mo na ito. Alam na natin ito. Dapat memorize lang yan. Santa filed against ERA in the RTC of Quezon City an action for specific performance paying for the delivery of a parcel of land subject to their contract of sale. Unknown to the parties, the case was inadvertently raffled to an RTC designated as a special commercial court. Later, the RTC rendered judgment adverse to ERA, who, upon realizing that the trial court was not a regular RTC, Rochester wants you to file a petition to have the judgment annulled for lack of jurisdiction. What advice would you give to ERA? Explain your answer. Special commercial court. Subject matter jurisdiction eh. Pag subject matter jurisdiction, you can raise it. You can raise it at any time. Pero yung problema is, yung special commercial court, kasi RTC din to eh. So, tapos na yung judgment, tapos RTC din. Parang too late na, no? Too late. Tingnan natin yung sagot. Medyo confused ako. The advice I would give to ERA is that the petition for annulment will not prosper. It has been held at special commercial courts. It's still a court of general jurisdiction. Okay. So, tama naman yung medyo basis natin. And can hear and try non-commercial, kasi RTC pa rin siya. Hence, the special commercial court has jurisdiction to try and decide. Meaning, pag mali pala na file mo, sa family court, since parang RTC pa rin siya, okay lang. Yung bawal siguro kung sa MTC mo siya final. So, I think okay na tayo sa jurisdiction. Meron pa ba? Hades, an American citizen, through a dating website, got acquaintance with Persephone, a Filipina. Hades came to the Philippines and proceeded to Baguio City, where Persephone resides. Hades and Persephone contracted marriage solemnized by the METC Judge of Makati. But Makati? Baguio. Anyway, after the wedding, Hades flew back to California, USA to wind up his business affairs. On his return to the Philippines, Hades discovered Persephone had illicit affair with Phanes. Immediately, Hades returned to the US and was able to obtain a valid divorce decree from the Superior Court of County of San Mateo, California, court of competent jurisdiction against Persephone. Hades decides to marry Hestia, also Filipina, whom he met at Bacchus Grill in Pasay City. Irrelevant. As Hades' lawyer, what petition should you file in order that your client can avoid prosecution for bigamy if he desires to marry Hestia? File siya ng yung divorce niya, kasi valid naman sa kanya yon. Tapos, yun, recognize yung foreign divorce niya. Answer, as Hades' lawyer would file a petition for cancellation of entry of marriage under Rule 108 with prayer for recognition of foreign divorce judgment. recognition of foreign divorce judgment, pero meron pa palang cancellation of entry of marriage. In a case involving similar facts, the Supreme Court held that the foreign divorce decree must first be recognized before it can be given effect. Supreme Court stated that recognition may be prayed for in petition for cancellation of the marriage. And okay. So, ano pala yan? Cancellation of marriage entry under Rule 108, tapos recognition of jurisdiction pa rin ba to? In what court should you file petition? Okay, ito na yung jurisdiction. Would file RTC Makati. What Makati? Baka dyan sa nagre-reside. No, hindi na natin ika-question yung legality ng Makati kasi hindi naman nino tanong. What is the essential requisite that you must comply with for the purpose of establishing jurisdictional facts before the court can hear the petition? Okay, under Rule 108, joinder of local registrar, notice of order of hearing of person's name, publication of order in the newspaper, general circulation departments. Okay. Family courts. How should the court records of child and family cases and family courts of RTC designated by Supreme Court to handle family court cases be treated and dealt with? Under what conditions may the identity of the parties in child and family cases be divulged? Alam ko closed dapat closed. The records of child and family cases and family courts and RTC designated by Supreme Court shall be the utmost confidentiality, shall not be divulged unless necessary with the authority of the judge. Juliet, invoking the provisions of rules on violence against women and children, filed with the RTC designated as a family court a petition for issuance of a TPO against her husband Romeo. The court issued a 30-day TPO against Romeo. A day before the expiration of TPO, Juliet filed a motion for extension. Romeo, in his opposition, raised, among others, the constitutionality of policy, arguing that the law authorizing the issuance of TPO violates the Equal Protection and Due Process Clauses of 1987 Constitution. The Family Court judge, in granting the motion for extension of TPO, declined to rule on the constitutionality. Family Court reasoned that family courts are without jurisdiction to pass upon constitutional issues, being a special court with limited jurisdiction. This the Family Court judge, correct, he declined to resolve. No, parang andyan yan na dapat i-resolve. So yeah, tama. Not correct. Decline to resolve. Authority to resolve constitution. Pwede yan. Ano lang, pwede mo i-diretso sa Supreme Court, pero pwede mo siyang i-raise sa lower court. Australia was the registered owner of a huge parcel of land located in the remote part of their barrio in Benguet. However, when she visited the property, after she took a long vacation abroad, she was surprised to see that her childhood friend John had established a vacation house on her property. Both Estrella and John were residents of the same barangay. To recover possession, Estrella filed a complaint for ejectment, alleging that she is the true owner of the land. Evidence by her certificate of title, tax deck, assessed value 21,000. On the other hand, refused claim and submitted an evidence deed of absolute sale. Okay. On appeal by Estrella to the RTC, a full-blown trial was conducted. RTC reasoned that based on the assessed value of property, it was a court of proper jurisdiction, rendered a judgment declaring John as the owner of the land. Was the MTC correct in dismissing the complaint for lack of jurisdiction? Why or why not? Pag-ejection, no, it is well settled that jurisdiction is determined by the allegations contained in the complaint. Contention of defendant in this motion to dismiss has nothing to do with determination of jurisdiction. MTC is exclusive original jurisdiction over cases of forcible entry and unlawful detainer. So provisional determination of ownership in ejectment cases cannot be resolved without deciding the issue of ownership. Yeah. Merong jurisdiction. So, ejectment, forcible entry, and lawful detainer na din. Ayan, yung relief ni. Okay, sa judicial courts, what court has jurisdiction over an action for specific performance filed by a subdivision homeowner against a subdivision developer? HLERB. Yeah, HLERB nga. Aspects of jurisdiction. Okay. Amor Solo, a Filipino citizen permanently residing in New York City, filed with the RTC of Lipa a complaint for rescission of contract of sale of land against Brigado, resident of San Miguel, Santo Tomas, Batangas, sa subject property located in Barangay Talisay, Lipa City, has an assessed value of 19,700. Well, pwede. Saan yung property eh? The court cannot acquire jurisdiction of a person of Amor Solo because he is not a resident of the Philippines. Mali. Okay. Nung nag-file kasi siya ng complaint, yun na yun, voluntary submission. Kasi yung property nandito sa Pilipinas eh. Danielle, a Filipino citizen and permanent resident of Milan, Italy, filed with the RTC of Davao City, where she owns a rest house. Complaint for ejectment against Dan, resident of Barangay Daliao, Davao City. Danielle's property, which is located in Digo City, Davao del Sur, has an assessed value of 25,000. Appended to the complaint was Danielle's certification of non-forum shopping executed in Davao City by attorney, notarized by attorney Dane Denoza, Notary Public. Should the complaint be verified, or is certification sufficient? Dapat verified. Okay, verified. Laura was the lessee of an apartment unit owned by Louie. When the lease expired, Laura refused to. Civ Pro na to eh. Crime Pro tayo dapat ngayon eh. Unlawful detainer of a... Skip ko na yung mga Civ Pro. Kasi next time natin pag-usapan yung Civ Pro. No. Okay. So, yun for jurisdiction. Grabe. Napagod ako doon. Yung first topic pa lang. Yung next is Rule 110, Prosecution of Offenses. I think babalikan na natin isa-isa yung jurisdiction pag Civ Pro na. Magro-Rule 110 tayo sa next video. So, I hope you picked up something in this study with me video, even if it's so disorganized. And yeah. So, yan. Good luck sa aral.